Michigan to run a few errands. 5 days later, Ashley's car was found parked outside of an apartment complex in Roseville, a few miles from where her cell phone location last pinged. The search for Ashley would lead to a disturbing crime scene, 2 hours of unsettling surveillance footage, and eventually, sifting through acres of landfill. As more and more evidence came to light, so did the truth. Hi there, I'm Kevin, and welcome to Just Thought Lounge. Today, we're taking a look at a very recent case unraveling in Michigan. It's a heartbreaking and disturbing story of a young mother's life cut short. Let's take a look. On the morning of January 2nd, 2025, 30-year-old Ashley Elkins left her house in Warren, Michigan to run a few errands. The mother of 2 sons, aged 7 and 10, left her boys with her younger sister. She was not meant to be away from them for very long. Ashley drove her silver Malibu to a 7-Eleven at around 8 a.m. that morning. She was captured parking and entering the store. Throughout the morning, she exchanged sporadic messages with her mother, Monica. At just after 9 o'clock, however, these messages abruptly ceased. Monica had a sixth sense that something was not right. At 9:06, she texted her daughter about an upsetting dream she had the night before, that her daughter's car had been stolen. The response she received unsettled her further. It read simply, "Aw man." Such a strange response from her daughter. And after that, silence. Monica Elkins tried to FaceTime her daughter, but she didn't answer. She drove to her house, but Ashley had already left. Hours later, another family member received a text from Ashley, stating that she was heading to a specific beauty supply store. Shortly after, her phone was turned off, and then later turned back on, though there was no further communication. Unable to reach her, the family did what they could to track her down. Ashley's sister, Alexis, tracked Ashley's phone using the Find My iPhone app, which showed her last known location was at an apartment in the 2900 block of Pinehurst Street in Roseville, Michigan. The address was a familiar one. It was the home of Ashley's ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old DeAndre Booker. Members of Ashley's family, including her mother, sister, and the father of her 2 boys, went out to the apartment to look around. Her car wasn't in the parking lot. There was no response at DeAndre's door. As to why Ashley would be at DeAndre's apartment that morning, they had broken up months earlier, and to her knowledge, they were no longer involved.
I'm telling this that why won't she go into it? I didn't lie because she had some plans aroused. Okay. And these usual person like, hello? It was so sad.
The Elkins had reason to suspect DeAndre Booker had something to do with Ashley's disappearance. They had, at one time, accepted him as family. Ashley and DeAndre were together for approximately a year, during which time he met her relatives. They bonded over the holidays, and he regularly helped out with her boys. Though after their breakup the previous September, Ashley had consciously distanced herself from her ex. When he called, she did not answer. In the weeks before she went missing, Ashley told some family members that she believed DeAndre may have been following her. As soon as Ashley went missing, her family grew concerned that he may have abducted her. Just days before, DeAndre had attempted to trick Ashley into letting him into her house by making an appointment under a fake name with her hairstyling business, which she ran from home. The day he came to the house, he acted like he was a client, and he made a point with her. She was expecting that client was him. And they were in the house quiet. She told him to be quiet. He knocked on the front door and the side door, and then he left, and they hear is 2 days later she stole him. 5 days after she went missing, Ashley's silver Malibu was discovered in the parking lots of an apartment complex near to 13 Mile in Little Mac in Roseville. This location is 4 miles from the complex where her ex-boyfriend lived. The keys had been left on the seat. I'm very concerned. My hip has not applies, and I just got off work. I've been out here all weekend. I am concerned. She's a good person. She's a mother too. I mean, anything outside of that, that's the main focus right there. She has babies, so that's our focus as a family and outside community. She loves her family, her kids. She would never just disappear for this many days. investigators began to trace Ashley's movements from the morning of January 2nd. A camera facing the parking lot of DeAndre Booker's apartment building on Pinehurst Street captured Ashley entering the lot that morning. She is shown wearing the same clothing she was wearing earlier at the 7-Eleven, an orange shirt, black jacket, and dark jeans. A few hours later, at just after noon, two figures were captured moving towards Ashley's vehicle. The male, in dark jeans, a black coat and hat, appeared to be DeAndre Booker. The woman, investigators assumed, must be Ashley. Except she was wearing different clothing. The angle of the camera did not allow for an accurate identification. The couple got into the car, never returned. 2 days after Ashley went missing, DeAndre placed a call to Roseville Police, telling them that he suspected his apartment had been broken into. He had not stayed there the night before, nor did he meet officers at his door when they arrived to investigate. Officers reported that they found the door to the unit unlocked and sitting slightly ajar. For this reason, they let themselves inside. As they made their way through the living room and down the hallway towards the bedrooms in the bathroom, they noted a number of curious and unsettling signs, ones that indicated that the apartment had been the location of a brutal, likely deadly incident. The unit had been very recently cleaned using a significant amount of bleach. The scent of cleaning products lingered in the air. On the sofa, a pair of yellow rubber gloves sat discarded on the cushion. A laptop and headphones sat out on the tabletop in plain view, suggesting the apartment had not, in fact, been burgled. It was in the bathroom where alarm bells went off, prompting officers to immediately seal off the scene and call for further support. 2 bottles of bleach sat out, one on the counter next to the sink, and a second on the floor next to the bathtub. The shower curtain was missing. The plug to the bath drain was in the middle of the tub. The drain itself appeared to have small items sitting just inside it. Using a pair of tweezers, the responding officer pulled the visible bits of debris from the drain. Remnants of a blood-like substance had been caught on a few hairs. Also visible to the naked eye were small spatter stains on the tiles, against the side of the bathtub, on the baseboards, the floor, and on the back of the bathroom door. The countertop surrounding the sink was mostly clean, but the cupboard doors below were not. From the bathroom, attention was drawn down the hallway, where spatter was noted on the closet door and the walls. In the kitchen, searchers found a box of heavy-duty garbage bags. A few had been used. There was also a second set of lighter pink-colored bags that seemed to be used throughout the rest of the unit. The waste bin in the kitchen was empty. A fresh heavy-duty garbage bag was placed inside. A mop showed the signs of an attempted cleanup. Later, a forensic team applied a luminol solution to the walls and floors and revealed the extent of cleaning that had been undertaken in the bathroom and hallway. A plumber was then called in to take apart the pipes in the apartment. From the drain in the bathtub, they pulled out a bullet fragment, 1 silver-hooped style earring, and a small clump of hair.
Underneath the couch, police found a handgun. It was registered to DeAndre Booker. Ashley Elkins entered her ex-boyfriend's apartment on the morning of January 2nd, and it was now heartbreakingly obvious that she did not leave alive. The same camera that captured Ashley entering the complex that morning also caught DeAndre back and forth from his unit to the parking lot and surrounding areas for hours later that day. At about 3 p.m., DeAndre carried what appeared to be a large cardboard box towards a dumpster that sat in the far corner of the parking lot, to the top right view of the camera. It was dark by the time he resumed his activities outside. At around 11:15, a figure is shown crossing the street to the 7-Eleven. From there, the figure returns, pushing a shopping cart. Shortly afterwards, he emerges again, this time carrying a pink bag to the dumpster. These trips to various garbage dumpsters around the complex continue for hours. At 1 a.m., he carries a larger, heavy-duty black garbage bag to the north parking lot, where another dumpster was used to dispose of another bag. By 4 a.m., a figure that again emerges from his building is captured walking, visible only in silhouette along the tree line that separates Pinehurst Complex from the buildings next to it. Again, the figure carried a large dark bag towards a dumpster. Then is shown returning to DeAndre's building, no longer carrying the trash bag. Footage captured just after 4 a.m. on January 3rd is the most disturbing. DeAndre re-emerges with the shopping cart, but it is no longer empty. DeAndre first walked towards the dumpster on the left side of the parking lot and finds the fence blocking his path. He is seen backtracking with his cart and then pushing it along the walkway to the right of the screen, eventually reaching the dumpster at the far left corner of the camera's vision. His movements at this point are almost entirely concealed by the darkness. However, analysis of shadows revealed DeAndre attempting to lift a heavy object from the cart into the dumpster. He fails at first and must collect the object from the ground, and with some effort, he is able to lift it in. He then appears to empty more items from the cart into the bin. DeAndre is captured at the dumpster for nearly 5 full minutes. It was just before 5 a.m. By the time police uncovered the surveillance footage,
DeAndre had it so painstakingly disposed of in the dead of the night were gone. There were, however, traces left behind. Police seized the dumpsters and began analyzing the contents. Forensic teams found traces of blood in the bottom of the container. These samples returned a match to Ashley Elkins. The same was true when testing was completed on the samples taken from inside of DeAndre's apartment. Ashley's DNA was an overwhelming percentage match to these samples, taken from the bathroom, the hallway, and elsewhere inside the unit. We met with Chief Berlan, and we met with multiple deputy chief, and they gave us an update on what was found yesterday. What they indicated was there was substantial evidence collected at the home of the ex-boyfriend. They also indicated that based upon that evidence, that Ashley was murdered. They don't have her body at this time. They do have good leads on where her body is. They have a strong suspicion of where she may be. The boys, 10, 7 years old, yes, won't have a mom anymore. No, they won't. What happens next for them? It's going to take a lot of family. Everyone here is going to take the love and support of the family. They do have their father. They have grandparents. Everyone's going to embrace them and support them. And that's actually starting now. The healing starts now. Investigators learned that trash from the dumpster where DeAndre had emptied his cart would be taken to a transfer station on Groesbeck Highway in Roseville, where it would then be loaded onto another truck and taken to a landfill in Lennox Township. Beginning on January 13th and continuing for 5 straight days, officers from 15 law enforcement agencies combed through a targeted area of 6.5 acres of the Pine Tree Acre landfill. Its total area measures over 370 acres. The trash was sifted through 2 inches at a time as systematically as possible, in the hope of discovering any items linked to the murder, or, if they were fortunate, locating Ashley's remains. We got some this week we are taking back for processing. We're not sure if they're related to the case or not, so we got to do some more work on that. I think we're in the right spot. We just got more work out of us. After a week of searching, the efforts ceased. No remains were found. In the days immediately following Ashley's disappearance, investigators had spoken with DeAndre over the phone twice. During those conversations, he told them that he had met with Ashley at his home on the morning of January 2nd. She came by just to talk sometimes, he claimed. He told them that she left.
He had not heard from her since. When asked if she had left wearing the same clothing as when she arrived, he said yes. When asked to confirm that she left in her silver Malibu, he again said yes. These were, of course, easily disprovable statements. So, as investigators continued to compile a case against him for murder and to search for Ashley, they arrested DeAndre Booker for lying to a peace officer. DeAndre was eventually located at a girlfriend's home in Flint. Law enforcement had been able to track him to the location from the cameras and phone data beginning on January 3rd. At just before 6 a.m., after hours of disposing items in dumpsters, an Uber driver collected DeAndre outside of the Motor City pawn shop, which is located near to his apartment. Cameras showed him disposing of a few items there as well before he caught a ride. The Uber dropped him in Flint, where police would find him days later. At the girlfriend's, they found DeAndre's clothing, identical to the items worn by the figure captured on camera disposing of bags of bloody evidence. His black coat with the fur-lined hood, dark ripped jeans, and a black hat. When DeAndre was arrested in Flint, investigators obtained his cell phone along with a search warrant allowing them to access its data. What they found was disturbing. It also painted a picture of Ashley's likely fate. Beginning on December 29th, 2 days before he booked the hair appointment under a fake name in an attempt to gain entry into Ashley's home, DeAndre searched 9mm silencer, Roseville, Michigan, and Murder Out of Rage X. After trying to see Ashley and being turned away, he searched shotgun through pillow and can you track location when phone is off? As well as the disturbing and revealing question, what happens to trash after it's picked up? There were also indications that DeAndre was plotting ways to escape justice. In the days after the murder, while at the house in Flint, he searched what to do on the run, how to beat a polygraph, and finally, delete Google history. As DeAndre Booker was arraigned on his initial charges, the search for Ashley continued. He was held on a $250,000 bond. And do you bring based on evidence that you have or want to go look at if you will find Ashley? I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic. I'd like to go ahead and tell you yes, but it's only if somebody or evidence points to where that happens. Somebody may cooperate in the investigation. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but I'm hopeful. Can you repeat what was said this morning in regard to the suspect being in a vehicle with a female, I believe, and then came back?
Relevance of why that was introduced today. We believe he acted alone. There was a video portion of a second female. It was investigated thoroughly. She was not involved. She was unwitting. Since his arraignment, DeAndre Booker's appearances in court have been characterized by unpredictable and unhinged behavior. At his pretrial hearing in August 2025, DeAndre at first refused to sit while in court, even as Ashley's mother took the stand. Mr. Booker, I was told earlier that you did not want to sit. You can sit if you wish, but if you don't want, you can stand. No response, so with that question that Judge, I just want to place on the record an objection to the defendant posturating this manner in attempts, my opinion, to intimidate witnesses that are going to be testifying against them today. That's the court was it's courtroom wave, it's C-SPAN, and I recognize that, but I didn't want to displace over it. By this time, DeAndre's sordid past had come to light. A veteran of the U.S. Army, DeAndre had gone AWOL in 2017 and was later, less than honorably, discharged. State prosecutors revealed that he had prior counts of both larceny and fraud. The 32-year-old was unemployed at the time of his arrest. Over several days in his pretrial hearing, evidence of his guilt was meticulously outlined. During this time, he routinely refused to get dressed or leave his cell to attend to the hearing in person. Attempts to connect him to the proceedings via video link while partially covered by a blanket mostly failed when he would not agree to stop screaming and cursing. When his video feed was unmuted, DeAndre could be heard screaming, "Let me go." DeAndre Booker can hear the court. I love you. It's your answer you. You do get then thinking, hey, will that now it's obvious to me that she will very equal soul in the south that fall half of these not the man who pick himself. It's available for bringing out that visibility purposes. I can, though, let the court know that based upon money conversations and meetings and worker this one second place that it's real clear to court that Mr. Booker is screaming. He's in a jail cell.
I don't know if you can hear us here, but we would have him muted, please. Character. Yeah. State prosecutors outlined their case through testimony by responding officers, detectives, and lab technicians. They also revealed one missing piece of the puzzle: the identity of the mystery woman who drove Ashley's Malibu from the complex on the day she disappeared. It was speculated that she might have been an accomplice. The truth is that this woman was a family member who testified she had been manipulated. Payne Barksdale is the adopted daughter of DeAndre Booker's sister. Though less than a decade separated them by age, Payne had grown up adoring the man she viewed as her uncle. He had been a supportive figure in her young life. After gradually losing touch over the years, the two had only recently reconnected. On the morning of January 2nd, DeAndre asked his niece to do him a favor. Could she come by in the early afternoon and move his friend's car? He called me and he said that he needed his friend's vehicle to be removed from his apartment complex because he didn't want to get in trouble. Now, his apartment complex, had you ever been there before? No, that was my first time. Do you know the address? No, I do not. Do you know what city it's in? Roseville? So he called you and said he needed help with moving a car, is that what you're saying? Yes. It was a coworker. It was a male coworker. He said that he had went to his house. The car wasn't registered, so it didn't have any plates. He had just bought the vehicle. He didn't have a license. And so with me having a license, he wanted me to drive it to his coworker's house. He said that the cops was hot in the area. So with me having a license, if I was to get pulled over, I wouldn't be in trouble. Okay. So at some point on January 2nd of this year, G go to the defendant's apartment. Yes, he requested Uber. Uber requested it. DeAndre requested Uber from my apartment to go to his apartment. Payne followed DeAndre's directions to the location of an apartment complex he claimed was home to his friend, and they left the car there. He told her his friend wanted the keys left on the seat. Before ordering an Uber to drive them back, he carried a bag from the car to a nearby dumpster and disposed of it. The final stop DeAndre asked Payne to make was to a nearby beauty supply store. Cameras captured the Uber in the far right edge of its frame, driving into the store parking lot. Payne exited the car and entered the store, while DeAndre waited in the vehicle. He asked her to pick up a couple of items. Investigators suspect that this is when Ashley's cell phone was powered back on in an attempt to register her location at the store and not at DeAndre Booker's apartment. And then he asked me,
the phone was there before the phone was turned off, then yes. And then he asked if him and I could share locations. So when he asked you this was after you were at Cali Community with the defendant, correct? Yes. The preliminary hearing in August 2025 unveiled an impressive 200 pieces of evidence. Considering the volume of information presented, Judge Bodeker agreed with the defense's request to extend a ruling until the full court transcripts, along with every piece of evidence, can be thoroughly reviewed. This process is expected to take several months. At that time, further arguments are likely to be presented before a decision is made about whether DeAndre Booker will continue to trial. For Ashley Elkins' family, the investigation had provided many answers, though of course not complete closure. The question remains, what could possibly have caused the rage towards Ashley that DeAndre referenced in his searches days before she disappeared? What motive could he have had to take his ex-girlfriend from her children? Can you describe the relationship that you've been around them? Yeah, he was around my whole family. When I say I thought he was the one who's gonna marry her, just he was good to our kids. He played ball with them. He took me to haircuts. He was there as always about how I cooked. But he was part of the family. So I'm just really shook. That he would do something like this. But we accepted him. We accepted you in our family. You met her grandma, you met her aunt, you met all her father's side of family. You were good souls, boys. You know, you didn't think that how it would affect those boys, the ones you got their haircut, the ones you kept sometimes, which had around areas, ones you played ball with, ones you stood apart, you didn't care about them. A GoFundMe page has been launched to raise money intended for a trust to financially support Ashley's 2 young sons. They remain in the care of their father and other family members. A link to the page can be found in the description below. As of the publication of this documentary, Ashley Elkins has not been found. And that was the tragic case of Ashley Elkins. Thank you for joining me. And a quick note for those of you who may not be aware, JTL is now on Spotify Video. We upload our documentaries there every week.